Welcome back, friends. Now let us discuss about your block credit, a very important provision which you can surely see in your exam paper. Right. Now when we talk about block credit, you have to understand that it is covered under section 17 subsection 5. There is no rule for block credit, it is purely conceptual. You have to understand that these are listed cases, you cannot take the credit. So let us quickly go through your block credit. The initial page is only about your motor vehicles, your aircrafts and vessels. Only about that the focus is on. On the left hand side you can find your motor vehicles. On the right hand side you can find your vessels and aircrafts. Right, quickly let us go through it. Now when you talk about motor vehicles, you have to categorize it. Is it motor vehicles for transportation of persons? If it is motor vehicle for transportation of persons, then you have to further categorize into two parts. Having a seating capacity of more than or equal to 14 passengers, or having a seating capacity of less than 13 passengers. Right. Now you may ask, if it is motor vehicle not used for transportation of passengers, which means that if you are talking about motor vehicle for transportation of goods, if you are talking about any other motor vehicle, which means that whether it is transportation of goods or it is cash carrying vans, you find the banks using cash carrying vans or special purpose motor vehicle like forklifts only to lift the goods, etc., etc. So when you talk about motor vehicles other than motor vehicles for transportation of passengers, which will include motor vehicles for transportation of goods, special purpose motor vehicles, cash carrying vans, etc., that credit you can surely take it. So when you talk about motor vehicles for other than transportation of passengers, take credit. Motor vehicle for transportation of passengers divide into two: more than or equal to 14 seating capacity or less than 13 seating, less than or equal to 13 seating capacity. So it is more than or equal to 14 or less than or equal to 13. So if it is 14 or more, seating capacity, it means that it can be purely used only for business purposes, you can take the credit. But if the seating capacity of that motor vehicle is less than or equal to 13 passengers, then generally you cannot take credit. Right, now categorize: motor vehicle for transportation of passengers, 14 or more than 14 seating capacity, take credit. Motor vehicle for transportation of passengers, 13 or less than equal to 13 seating capacity, generally no credit, exceptions are there. And any other motor vehicle, take full credit. Now we are focusing on motor vehicle for transportation of passengers having a seating capacity of less than or equal to 13. Normally no credit, but in special cases they can take exceptions. In exceptions they can take credit. What are the exceptions? If you are further supplying such motor vehicle, which means that if you are a dealer of motor vehicle showroom, or further renting that motor vehicle. So if you are talking about dealer of motor vehicle or a person who is renting such motor vehicle, if that motor vehicle is further supplied, take credit. If that motor vehicle, if you are talking about a person who is further supplying such motor vehicle, take credit. You are talking about certain sectors, a dealer of motor vehicle showroom, or a person who is giving that motor vehicle on rent. Or if you are talking about transportation of passengers, say for example KPN Travels or any such travels, again you are talking about a person who is into the business of transportation of passengers. For him motor vehicle is must, take credit. If you are talking about businessmen who are into the business of giving training on driving such motor vehicle, take credit. So three business sectors are allowed the credit even if the seating capacity of that motor vehicle is less than or equal to 13 persons. Who are these sectors? If that person is further supplying such motor vehicle, that is motor vehicle dealer, or if you are talking about passenger transportation sector, if that particular businessman is involved in transportation of passengers, say for example KPN Travels or any such travels, right? If at all you are talking about a person who is involved in training services in terms of coaching, you are talking about driving schools, take the credit. These three business sectors are allowed the credit even if the motor vehicle has a seating capacity of less than or equal to 13 persons. So that is all about motor vehicles. Now let us discuss about vessels and aircrafts in a very similar manner. Normally when you talk about vessels and aircrafts, normally vessels and aircrafts you don't get the credit. So if a company has purchased a vessel or aircraft, it cannot get the credit. Even say for example helicopter owned by Reliance Limited, for business travel of Mukesh Ambani, you cannot take a credit. Aircraft which is owned by a movie producing company, for shooting purposes, they cannot take it. Normally you don't get the credit. Now which all business sector will get the credit? Now the same three business sector that we have discussed will get the credit plus 1 also. If you're talking about further supply of such vessel aircrafts, if a particular person is involved in dealing in vessels and aircrafts, they purchase vessel aircrafts and they sell vessel and aircrafts, they will get the credit. Or if that vessel or aircraft is engaged in transportation of passengers, say for example Indigo, or you are talking about Indian Airlines, they are all involved in transportation of passengers, they will get the credit. Or if you are talking about a person or a businessman who is purchasing vessel or aircraft for the purpose of training on navigating or flying of such vessel or aircrafts, they will get the credit. Right, training schools, right? Or a person who is involved in a businessman who has purchased vessel or aircraft for the purpose of transportation of goods, they will get the credit. So you will find these three categories again very similar. You will find these three categories again very similar where they get the credit. What are they? Further supply of such vessel or aircraft, passenger transportation sector, training sector, they will get the credit. In addition to it, transportation of goods sector. So these are the business sectors where if you purchase vessel and aircraft, you will get the credit, right? Otherwise you will not get the credit. He should be involved in further supply of such vessel or aircraft or passenger transportation sector or goods transportation sector or training sector, otherwise no credit. So that is all about purchase of motor vehicles and purchase of vessel and aircraft. Normally no credit, but when all you get the credit, we have discussed. Now an interesting thing, C and D, the next 2 points are related to motor vehicles and vessel and aircrafts only. Now what are we talking about, friends? We are talking about general insurance services. Now we are not talking about purchase of motor vehicle or purchase of aircraft and vessel, we are talking about the related services. General insurance services, servicing and repair and maintenance services of such motor vehicles, vessel and aircrafts. Normally you are talking about two sectors, general insurance sector and repair and maintenance sector for these, for these motor vehicles or vessels or aircrafts. Whenever you purchase a motor vehicle or vessel or aircraft, for sure you will have general insurance of that particular motor vehicle, vessel or aircraft. For sure you will have repair and maintenance of that particular vessel or aircraft. Now how to analyze it? Very simple analysis. If at all at the time of purchase, you are eligible to take the credit of such motor vehicle or vessel or aircraft, for general insurance and repair and maintenance and servicing also you get the credit, right? If at the time of purchase of that motor vehicle, vessel or aircraft, you fall under ineligible category. So at the time of purchase, if you don't get the credit, for general insurance, servicing and repair and maintenance also you don't get the credit. So if it is in relation to those motor vehicles or vessels or aircrafts where ITC is allowed at the time of purchase, ITC is allowed even at the time of general insurance, servicing, repair and maintenance. In other cases, you don't get the credit. So basic analysis is only do. If at the time of purchase of such motor vehicles, aircrafts and vessels, you get the credit. For general insurance, repair and maintenance servicing, get the credit. If at the time of purchase, you don't get the credit, for general insurance service, repair and maintenance servicing, repair and maintenance services, you don't get the credit. Now there are two exceptions. Now friends, what are the exceptions? Exceptions are two particular sectors. If you are talking about manufacture of motor vehicles, vessels or aircrafts, or if you are talking about general insurance company who goes for reinsurance, these two sectors will get the credit for always, which means that even if at the time of purchase of such motor vehicles, vessels and aircrafts, you are not eligible to get the credit, but when you talk about a manufacturer or when you talk about a general insurance company, they will get the credit of general insurance services and repair and maintenance services always. You need not see anything for them. For a manufacturer of motor vehicle and general insurance service provider, do not see whether at the time of purchase you get the credit or you don't get the credit. Whether or not you get the credit for these two services, that is general insurance services and repair and maintenance services, these two people will always get the credit. Not everyone. Who are they? Manufacturer of such motor vehicle and general insurance sector. Right. So let us understand in this way. So if at all you are talking about your general insurance services, repair and maintenance services, these two sectors, manufacturer of motor vehicle and general insurance sectors, will always get the credit. Other cases, if at the time of purchase you are eligible to take the credit, take credit of general insurance and repair and maintenance services. If at the time of purchase of motor vehicle or vessel or aircraft, you cannot take the credit, you cannot take the credit even of general insurance and repair and maintenance services. So that is all about this particular point. Now, next you are talking about services of renting or hiring of such motor vehicles, vessels and aircrafts. Now you have to understand that instead of going for purchase option, see, normally if I want a motor vehicle, I can go for either purchase or rent option. So point number A was about purchase of motor vehicles, vessel and aircrafts. Now point number D is about, you are talking about renting or hiring such motor vehicles, vessel and aircrafts. I am not going for purchase option, I am going for renting or lease option. So instead of purchasing that motor vehicle, I am going for renting or leasing option. Now friends, again the answer here is very similar. If at the time of purchase, if at the time of such purchase of motor vehicle, vessel or aircraft, ITC is available, if at all I would have purchased, then ITC would have been available. Even renting of that same motor vehicle, ITC is available. Whereas if at the time of purchase, I purchase a motor vehicle, vessel or aircraft, basically ITC is not available. Even at the time of renting or leasing such motor vehicle, ITC is not available. So it is just similar to what we have understood in general insurance and repair and maintenance services. So what are they trying to tell? Assume that if you purchase that motor vehicle, vessel or aircraft, if you are eligible to take the credit, then renting or leasing of that same motor vehicle, you can take the credit. Assume that if you are purchasing that motor vehicle, vessel or aircraft, you cannot take the credit, then even if you go for renting or leasing of that motor vehicle, you cannot get the credit. But there is one exception. What is that exception? If you are going for renting or leasing of a motor vehicle which is forceful on you, if it is due to statutory obligation, if it is due to statutory obligation, that is some law because of which you have to go for renting or leasing of motor vehicle for, say for example, for your employees, then always you can take the credit. Don't see anything. If at all you are going for renting or leasing of your motor vehicle because of statutory obligation, government has forced you, say for example in Delhi, night transportation of employees is mandatory for the company, they have to take care. Now they take renting of motor vehicle services not because they want it, but they have to go for it because of statutory obligation. They can take the credit even if it is falling under ineligible category, right? So how to understand this? If it is due to statutory obligation, don't see whether you are eligible, whether you are falling under eligible or ineligible category, take the credit. If it is not due to statutory obligation, then think, if at all it was eligible for purchase, it is eligible for renting. If at all it was not eligible for purchase, it is not eligible even for renting or hiring of such motor vehicles. Now, the other block credits that you have to understand. Now we are talking about 6 services on the left hand side and 2 services on the right hand side. What are the 6 services on the left hand side? You are talking about your food and beverages, outdoor catering, beauty treatment, cosmetic and plastic surgery, health services, life and health insurance. So when you talk about all these services, normally you don't get the credit. What are the services? Food and beverages, outdoor catering, beauty treatment, cosmetic and plastic surgery, health services, life and health insurance. Normally you don't get the credit. There are 2 exceptions for the same. Now when you can get the credit of the same? When you can get the credit, if at all you are into the same sector, which means that your inward supply is also food and, subcontract. If your inward supply is also food and say food and beverages or outdoor catering or say beauty treatment, etc., and your outward supply is also the same as a part of mixed or composite supply, then you can take the credit. Which means that if you are into the same business, say for example, outdoor caterer, I am an outdoor caterer, I am giving services to Reliance Limited. Reliance Limited cannot take the credit. But if I subcontract this outdoor catering, supposing Reliance Limited has given me the contract of outdoor catering for say 5,000 plates, and for 2,000 plates I subcontracted to some other outdoor caterer. Now outdoor caterer 2 is giving me the services. Now look at me. Outdoor caterer 1 giving services to Reliance Limited. Reliance Limited cannot take the credit. It is my output service, Reliance Limited input service. Reliance Limited cannot take the credit. But if outdoor caterer 2 is giving me services of same outdoor catering, my outward supply is also outdoor catering, my inward supply is also outdoor catering, because it is subcontract. I am giving part of the work to another person in the same business. Now I can take the credit. Why? My inward supply from outdoor caterer 2 is outdoor catering services. My outward supply is also outdoor catering services. I am into that business. I can take the credit. So let us understand in this way. If it is a case of subcontract, you can take the credit. There's one more exception. If it is due to statutory obligation, you can take the credit. Now normally for all these services, food, beverages, outdoor catering, beauty treatment, cosmetic and plastic surgery, health services, life and health insurance, no credit. Exceptions. Same subcontract case. Subcontract means my outward supply is also a particular service, say outdoor catering. My inward supply is also outdoor catering. So I'm talking about the contractor, I mean the person, main contractor who's giving the work on subcontract. I can enjoy the credit. Right. Second exception, statutory obligation. Now there are other services where there's only one exception. When you talk about membership of a club or health or fitness center, gym, right, or travel benefits extended to employees on leave or home travel concession, which means that you're not talking about business travel of employees, you're talking about travel benefits which are given to employees on vacation, which is home travel concession or leave. So you're not talking about business travel of employees. If it is business visits of employees, you can enjoy the credit. So in these two cases, what are the cases? Membership of a club or health or fitness center, or you're talking about travel benefits to employees on vacation, not for business, but on vacation. You don't get the credit. The only exception is statutory obligation. Now what difference it makes? For the first 6 categories, there are 2 exceptions. For the next 2 categories, there is only one exception. That is statutory obligation. There is no subcontract here. Only one exception, statutory obligation. Right? That is all about point number E. Now let us focus on the next ineligible category, works contract and construction services. Works contract is combination of goods and services. Construction focuses only basically pure on pure construction. Rather, construction is wide enough to cover works contract. Construction service is wide enough to cover works contract. Now let us see the meaning of that. What is meant by your construction? Construction includes reconstruction, renovation, additions and alterations, even in repairs. So you are talking about construction is a wide term which will include even your reconstruction or renovation or repairs or additions or alterations to the extent of capitalization, which means that they are only talking about capitalization. They are not talking about charging to profit and loss account. Only if you are capitalizing, they are talking about eligible category. If you are not capitalizing, they are not worried. So construction will include everything, reconstruction or renovation or repairs or alteration, addition, etc. What is the important criteria? The important criteria, friends, here is capitalization. You have to capitalize it. Then you are not eligible. If you don't capitalize, you can take the credit. If it is charged to profit and loss account, you can take the credit. Whereas when you talk about your works contract means a contract for what? It can be for anything, building or construction or fabrication or completion, erection, installation, fitting out, repairs, improvement, modification, maintenance, renovation, alteration, commissioning, anything, but of what? Immovable property. And where the transfer of property in goods, whether in the same form or some other form, happens during the execution of such contract, which means, in simple terms, means you're talking about works contract is on an immovable property. Point number 1, it can be anything. It is happening, it is a contract for doing something on immovable property where the goods are going into the contract during the execution of works contract. So it is goods along with certain services. It happens during the execution of that particular works contract. Both these are taken as supply of services. We have seen that in schedule 2. Whether it is construction or works contract, they are called as supply of services. Right. Now, what are they trying to tell? Whether you are talking about your works contract services for construction of immovable property or goods and services for construction of an immovable property. Whether you give the entire contract for construction of immovable property or you purchase goods and go only for labor services for construction of immovable property. Either you give the entire contract or you purchase certain goods and only the labor portion you give it to the contractor. Either or, you cannot take the credit. If it is in relation to immovable property, that is capitalization, you cannot take the credit. So if at all it is an immovable property plus it is capitalized, you cannot take the credit. Now what are the exceptions? Exception is if you are talking about subcontract. If your outward supply is the same category, subcontract, which means that if you are builder, if you are contractor, which means that I am building a property for Reliance Limited. Reliance Limited cannot take the credit. But for doing the work, I gave part of the work to some other builder. Now, my inward supply is works contract, outward supply is also works contract. Can I take the credit? Yes, I can take the credit. Reliance Limited cannot take the credit, but the main contractor who has given the work on subcontract, that particular person can take the credit. This exception is nothing but subcontract. Right. Second exception is plant and machinery. If whether a plant and machinery is movable or immovable, you can always take the credit. And the third exception is if it is not capitalized. The moment if you don't capitalize, which means that supposing a building is constructed at the time of construction of a factory or a godown, you cannot take the credit. But there are small repairs and maintenance, you can take the credit. So 3 exceptions. First, subcontract, take the credit. Plant and machinery, take the credit. If it is not capitalized, if it is going to profit and loss account, charging to profit and loss account, take the credit. Now, what is meant by plant and machinery? Plant and machinery is any apparatus, equipment or machinery which is fixed to the earth, which means it is an immovable property by foundation or support structure for making outward supply. It has to have connection not with business but with outward supply and includes such foundation and support structure. What is important here is plant and machinery will not include the following. When I tell plant and machinery will not include the following, they will come under the normal sector, which means credit will not be available if it is capitalized. Land, building and civil structures. So if it is a civil structure and if you capitalize it, you cannot get the credit. Telecommunication towers. So when you talk about telecommunication companies, say for example Jio, Airtel. So these telecommunication towers, they are not plant and machinery, they are taken along with normal civil structures. So if you capitalize, you cannot take the credit. Pipelines outside the factory. So any petroleum companies where pipelines are laid outside the factory, they cannot take the credit, right? Because they are not called as plant and machinery, they are other than plant and machinery, they are treated at par with civil structures. So when the moment it is capitalized, you cannot take the credit. So plant and machinery will not include the civil structures, telecommunication towers and your pipelines outside the factory. What is important is second and third point. First point is normal. So if you talk about civil structure, capitalize it, no credit. But when you talk about telecommunication towers, pipelines outside the factory, you may have a doubt. Should I take it along with civil structure or plant and machinery? Take it along with civil structure. If you capitalize it, no credit. If you don't capitalize it, small repair and maintenance, you can take the credit. Right? That is all about this particular point. And friends, the last category where you have block credit, where you are talking about other small block credits. What are the other small block credits? If at all you are talking about you are purchasing goods and services where composition tax has been paid. That is very clear. If at all I am purchasing from a person who is under composition scheme, he is going to pay composition tax, but on his bill of supply there will be no tax. So composition tax if I have on my purchase, which he is not going to put on my bill of supply. Anyways, I cannot see tax portion on my bill of supply. No credit. If at all the goods are used for personal consumption, no credit. If at all you are talking about NRTP, so a non-resident taxable person cannot take any credit. Only exception is IGST on import of goods. So if I am NRTP, I cannot take any credit. If I am non-resident taxable person coming to India for a business exhibition for some small time, I cannot take credit of any goods or any services. Only exception is if at all I have imported certain goods, I would have paid customs duty. Only that IGST portion of customs duty I can take the credit. No other CGST, SGST, IGST credit I can take. Now the next point, if the goods are lost or stolen, I cannot take the credit. If the goods are destroyed, I cannot take the credit. If the goods are written off in books of accounts, I cannot take the credit. So if there is a theft, lost or stolen, no credit. If there is a destruction, again no credit. If at all I have written off in my books of accounts, goods are there but I have write off in my books of accounts, no credit. If I have disposed it by way of gifts or free samples, then wait. So when you talk about gifts or free samples, it is important. If I am enjoying input tax credit, I have to pay output tax deemed supply, schedule 1. If I am not taking input tax credit because of section 17(5), I need not pay output tax because it is not deemed supply. Right? You have to understand, you have to link this with your schedule 1. If you take the credit, you have to pay output tax because of schedule 1 deemed supply. If you don't take the credit because of section 75 for gifts and free samples, you don't enjoy input tax credit, no need to pay output tax, that it is not deemed supply as per schedule 1. Right. And the next point, you are talking about any tax that is paid due to fraud. What are the fraud cases that they have mentioned here? Section 74, which is a fraudulent case. Section 129 and 130, which generally happens when the goods are in transportation. Again, a fraudulent case. Not generating e-way bill properly is one of the example. Right. So if tax is paid under section 74, section 129, section 130, fraud cases, you have done some malpractice, then the opposite person cannot take the credit. Then the opposite person, recipient, cannot take the credit. So if the supplier has paid tax as per section 74, 129 and 130, recipient cannot enjoy the input tax credit. Right. Friends, these are all the block credit cases. A very simple understanding that we have done. All these points we have taken. So for sure you can see these points as a part of a question or as a separate question which comes very rarely, and you can clearly say whether credit is eligible or ineligible. That is all about your section 17 subsection 5 blocked credit.